think one of the key issues that I see constantly, like this is a consistent issue, so it's not just you or others that are tuning in watching this now. It is something that happens with all of us, especially when you really care passionately about the person that's on the other end, which we all do, right? There are some people that literally do not care about the customer that's on the other end, or it's just a number, they're just buying a product or another pen or another thing. But for those of you that are in the service-led industry, where you are sharing your heart, where you're probably supporting others through a process that you yourself have been through. So when you are passionate about getting people results, we have this kind of inbuilt part of us as entrepreneurs that says, I want to give you everything, have it, have this, and I'm going to give you the stars and have that, and have the moon as well, have the moon and have everything that I've got. And of course, like, you want them to have everything you've got because you're loving on them and you care about them, you care about getting the result, not just so because you care about them getting a result, but obviously every result you get for someone else is the last and lasting impression of your brand. So that's what they're going to go talk about. They're not going to talk about the first time they met you unless it was totally unique. They're going to talk about the last thing you have done for them. They're always going to remember the last impression that you made on them. Remember, Maya Angelou said, people won't always remember what you said, they won't always remember what you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel. So every heartbeat, every connection you have with somebody is going to deliver on a promise in some way or not. And if you don't deliver on your promise, that's what they're going to remember about you. That's your brand to them. If you do deliver on your promise, that's what they're going to remember about you. That's your brand. If you over deliver on your promise, that's what they remember about you. That's your brand. So when we start a relationship in this kind of information marketing world, where you go from physically serving a customer and being with them one-to-one to now saying, well, how do I package that up so that I can deliver that one-to-many online, have an online course or an online program? How do I take everything that I know and condense that into something that's going to make a difference to the lives of thousands of people, not the one-to-one that I can only work with when I'm one-to-one? And then, of course, once you've created that, that becomes then a many-to-many, because now you've got many people can be recommending it to many people at a time, because now it's online and it's not even you're talking in a one-to-one way to them, but actually it's being marketed by many people to many people. So that's what I call going from one-to-one to one-to-many to many-to-many. That's when you've now got ambassadors, joint venture partners, people that are going out and sharing the good work that you're doing, right? So then we get caught in this, and this is the thing that happens to everyone 100% of the time. When you go from serving one-to-one to packaging it up to get it out there, changing many lives at the same time, is that we do put too much into the process, because we want to over deliver, we want to be of the greatest service, and we think to ourselves, but hang on a minute, when I'm in front of someone one-to-one, then they're feeling my love. What happens if they don't feel my love and they're there and they've got my program and they're not feeling it? And so we over promise and we over deliver and we overstuff it. And it's one of our other members, she says it's like putting 10 pound of feathers into a 5 pound bag. And it is so true, right? Imagine what that feels like. So for you, you feel really good because you've given them more than you promised them, more than they paid for. To them, they're feeling like fire hosed. They don't know what that next step is, or you've given them too much to do in the first 1 or 2 steps, and now they freeze. Now you are taking them back to that maybe part in their childhood where they were always wrong. Never right. Oh God, I'm always wrong when it comes to this. There's no point in me even continuing. So what that does by giving them too much is it does very much trigger something for them that makes them freeze. And they don't fight, they don't fly, they just freeze, and they're paralyzed. And, I still make this mistake all the time. It's only when my members say to me, Sammy, like, I didn't get past that step because I got stuck because I needed to do this, that helps me to say, right, next time I deliver that, I need to make sure that I either remove that or I put this in place to let them know, which I do with all my sprints now. Hey, just so you know, even if you haven't completed days 1 and 2, still show up to day 3 because you're still learning. So I put that language in place now, which I never used to, because quite often the sprints that we do are a high level. They are much higher level. They're not really for beginners. They're for people that are on the journey already. But a lot of beginners want to know what's coming. They want to work on those more advanced things because it gets you out there and visible in a bigger way. I remember the very first time that I delivered the brand building boot camp. So that must be going back to about 2014. I delivered the brand building boot camp and I shoehorned everything into that day. Not only by the end of the day was I exhausted, they were all exhausted as well. God knows how they bought. I had a really good sales day because they bought into the next part of the program, but I didn't feel good about what I delivered that day. And so the next time, so I delivered that around, it was actually based on the 7 reasons why customers don't choose you. So I did 7 sessions in one day to get them through all of the content. If they didn't read this book, at least they would go away with what I felt they should have. The next time I delivered this, I did 5 reasons, 5 of the 7. It was still too much. The next time I did it, I did 3 of the 7 reasons. That was the sweet spot. So from then on, I delivered 3 of the 7, and they could either go home and work on the other 4, or they could join the next part of the program where I would take them through those next 4 things personally. What that does is it then gives you 2 opportunities to now build a relationship with them. And I never saw that, right? So people would they'd rather pay more and be handheld through the process. That's what I learned. They'd rather pay more and be handheld through the process than to pay less and be lost. So when you're looking at your programs, if it's taking you a long time, here's a good indication as to whether you are putting too much content into something, especially for somebody who's coming into your funnel, that's entering your funnel, that's joining you. This is the first part of your relationship with them. Here's a real surefire sign that you're putting too much content into it. It shouldn't take you more than a week to create that program. If it's taking you more than a week to create the concept for it, to develop the materials for it, to film it, edit it, and get it online somewhere where they can find it, you are putting too much content into it. It shouldn't take you more than a week, because ideally that person that's on the other end of it, they're going to have a really good positive experience with you where you go deeper on one thing than to go really deep on everything. And that's why I would suggest if it's taking you more than a week to create that first point of entry into your funnel, then I think that you probably have at least 2 pieces of content. If it's just think about it, for every week that is taking you longer to make that, that's probably another product. So if it's taken you 8 weeks so far to work on a product or program, you've probably got 8 different products, 8 different lead magnets there. Otherwise, I would ask, what are you getting distracted on if you're not working on that thing to get it out there? So, I mean, that's just a rough guide. Obviously, that's not true for everybody. Like I create a whole product in one day now, but that's because I've created over 1,000 of them. I'm used to doing it. I know how long it should take to create something and get it out there serving. But that's the beautiful thing about you being an entrepreneur, right? You can wake up in the morning and think, what am I feeling called to do today? I'm feeling called to serve my clients in that way. I think that this is the biggest problem that they've got right now, and I'm going to do something about that. You can have that thought in the morning. You can be thinking about what you're going to create as you eat your breakfast. You can Go for a run or a walk and come back, get showered, sit in front of your desk and hammer it for 2 hours. Give it 2 hours. What is this process that I'm going to take them through? And if this is where they want to be by the end of it, and this is where they are now, what is the gap? And over the next 3, 5, or 7 steps, I'm going to take them from where they are to where they want to be. And each step is going to be a maximum of, say, 15 minutes. So it's not taking them too long to get through it. If you can make that first point of entry with you an enjoyable experience, an easy experience, something that they feel really good about, you've got a 50% chance of them buying that next thing. And if when they buy that next thing, they feel really good about the purchase, you've done another great job, that they're feeling cared for, they feel like they got more than they invested to do this thing with you, it now goes up to 75% probability that they're going to buy that next thing from you. That means they're going to buy 3 things from you now. And when you deliver a good product or service there and they feel good, they feel cared for, they start to become an advocate, it goes up to 95%. And by the time somebody has bought 4 things from you consistently, the probability of them buying that next thing goes up to 100%. So if you think about membership, if you think about all the people, every time you put an event out, the same people attend the event. Every time you do a success surgery, it's the same people that show up every time. When you sell your next product or program, when you fill in the gap, and it's the same people that are showing up every time. Think of, whether you love Apple or hate them, they have thousands of people camping out at night in all weathers just to get the next version of the thing that they already own. That's because they've created really great rapport with their customers. They do a great job. They over deliver on their promise. They make their customers feel good, and therefore they come back. So they now know what their probability of repurchasing is. And that's what we're looking for with any of your programs, no matter what stage of the journey your client's at. We're looking for them not only buying from you once, but buying from you repeatedly. Because it takes a heck of a lot more energy. Someone once said, I don't know how true this is, but someone once said it takes 80% more energy to get a brand new customer than it does to just keep your existing customers repurchasing with you for the right reasons. So imagine that. Imagine you've got 10 customers and you serve them so well that they keep buying the next thing from you. They keep buying the next thing, they keep buying, or they keep reordering, especially if you're in a network marketing business. Or if you're building a team in network marketing, that's especially important for you because you want those customers to not only come back consistently, but you want them to fall in love with the product so much that they inquire then about being a part of the team and that they want to go out there and start serving and selling that same product. But even if you're not in network marketing, why can you not adopt that model? I think that's a brilliant model. When I was building Brand Builders Club before we experienced the great pause in the world, in 2020, when I was building Brand Builders Club, about 2018, I sat and thought to myself, how could I be doing this better? What business model exists in the world that is better than the one that I'm operating right now? And I thought about network marketing. I thought network marketing is one of the fastest ways to grow your business. So how can I adopt a network marketing model into my business without being a network marketing company? So I started to look at how were they growing their products? How were they growing their regions? How were they growing their teams? And that's when I created ambassadors in Brand Builders Club. And I started rewarding my ambassadors for the members that they were bringing on. I gave them responsibility for their region. And they started to run Brand Builders Club events in their region. They started to put on programs. They started to deliver things within Brand Builders Club, but in Brisbane, Orlando, New York, Atlanta, 3 parts of Holland. We were in Utrecht, and then we'd travel across and we'd do other events across Holland. So I had different ambassadors that were acting using the same model as network marketing, receiving a percentage of every sale of membership that they sold, and consistently receiving that commission every month for the term of that member's membership. So they had skin in the game to not only look after, to get that client in the door, but to also then look after that client so they felt cared for. And I would fly over as often as I could to meet and greet all of the clients that they were bringing into the program for me. So everybody won. But the most important thing to me was that the customer on the end was the winner, because that made all of us winners. So it was a great opportunity to look at other business models that were happening out in the world and incorporating them into my core business. So whether you're in network marketing or not, I think network marketing is a bloody brilliant model to implement in what you're doing. So if you haven't thought about that yet, do have a look at that. And yes, it can work for online programs and courses. If you create a program and you certify other people in that program to go and deliver that in what they're doing, that is another very good example of many to many products and programs, because now it's not you that's having to deliver that. Whether you're delivering something that is licensable, or if you're delivering a program that could be purchased by somebody else to deliver for their clients, or it's a product or program that you just want to deliver one-to-one, but millions of times, so it's not you that's delivering it. Just remember that if it's taking you too long to create the initial steps, if it's taking you too long to create any of the steps, then there's too much in your product or program. There's already too much in it. And I would consider breaking it down and maybe even testing it on some people. For those of you that haven't started this process yet, now is a good time for you to get into that. And by the way, for those of you that are members of the mastermind, or if you're members of Brand Builders Club and you're watching this, you've got access to the 12-week program, which is called the Impactful Income Blueprint. It's something I delivered, which, well, I've still got sessions that I'm delivering now. Once I've recorded them, they go up live into the online learning center, and so you've got access to them as well. But what it does is it takes you from the point of having the concept and the idea around your product or program to the point that you're actually selling it, how you're making money on it, how you're driving visibility to it. So it's a fully inclusive program that you as members have access to. And if you're watching this and you're not a member, become a member. It's a no-brainer. So